Greatness is not in where we stand, but in what direction we are moving. We must sail sometimes with the wind and sometimes against it, but sail we must and not drift, nor lie at anchor. Oliver Wendell Holmes. My friends, we move in one direction each and every day. That is 10 to 15 minutes toward chart mastery. Every day, day in, day out. It's only 5 days a week and it's only 10 to 15 minutes to learn how to follow these charts. It's those nuances of daily practice that will bring you success. And what does it cost? Nothing. Practice trading is free. It is an investment of your time, but it will pay great dividends if you will just stick with it. You can do this. Let's jump into these charts. What do we see going on? We see stocks and bonds up for the day, gold down, Bitcoin a booming up 7.88%. Let's jump into these charts. How is this week starting off with stocks? Up. We can see a nice green up candle forming. Price percent oscillator is negative and flat. Derivative oscillator is negative, losing downward momentum. Let's look at this 2-day chart. 2-day is trying to cross over, going up. 3 days of up movement. This candle will finish drawing on Tuesday at the close of the market, so we may very well be moving this 2-day trend line around, but it hasn't happened yet. Let's see just what happens. If it's a big down day tomorrow, that is on Tuesday, you could see this blue line pull right back through the red signal line and not cross over. Could be a 2-day recross going down. You never know. Or a bounce off at this point, actually. If it pulled back through, it'd be a bounce off. If it was a confirmed crossover going up and then turned around, that'd be a recross. And again, we'd rather have a recross than a bounce off because they're easier to call and see and feel good about. So that's where we are. Price percent oscillator trying to cross over, derivative oscillator trying to go green. Half-day chart, we can see 1, 2, 3 days of up movement. Price percent oscillator, derivative oscillator heading up. So we'll keep an eye on the S&P tomorrow. What about the Nasdaq 100? And again, we had a green spinning top, really almost a doji there in the week ending the 15th of October, and a green up candle booming right through that weekly trend line as we start the week. Price percent oscillator still negative and flattening. Derivative oscillator losing momentum, losing downward momentum for the first time in several weeks. Now again, it's just a Monday. We still have 4 more days to go. What about the 2-day? Hasn't crossed over yet. Trying to. We'll see what happens on Tuesday when the candle closes out. The derivative oscillator still negative also, not going into the green and crossing like we saw on the S&P. But again, 3 days of strong up movement. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. We look at the half-day chart, and we can see 3 days of up movement, up in the morning, further up in the afternoon, blowing through that weekly trend line, and already blew through on Thursday the 2-day trend line on that half-day chart. All those trend lines on all these different charts mean things, and you will learn those nuances if you fill out your daily market worksheet and you write those types of things down. Mull over that, think over it, learn. You learn by doing, and it's worth every second of time that you spend. Let's look at 20-year bonds, up for the day 0.47%. By the way, the Qs was up over 1%, the S&P up 0.3%. So bonds up 0.47%. Still negative, the derivative oscillator flattening and losing a little bit of momentum. We can see the price percent oscillator still heading down a little bit, but getting flat. We can see we're starting the week off with a green up candle. Last week was a solid green candle. That was a slowdown in the down movement. And look what it did on Monday, push through that weekly trend line. That tells you something. And look at the 2-day, how it pushed through on Wednesday the 13th, the 2-day trend line, and during the course of the day on Monday, popped through the weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator still negative. Derivative oscillator negative and losing downward momentum. Price percent oscillator's heading up. We'll see how this candle finishes drawing on Tuesday. That is the 2-day. What do we see on the half-day? We can see where things peaked on the close of the bell there on Thursday, down on Friday, and then moving back up again on Monday. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator, because of those down moves, still losing upward momentum. So that is where we are on bonds. Again, we will keep our eye on things and see where they go. Interesting, these up moves that we are seeing here in this short term. Let's go to gold, down 0.25%. The one I really want to see moving up, of course, is struggling to do that. We're starting the week off with a little red spinning top. And again, it's an open box, so it's a slowdown in the up movement, getting nowhere near where things peaked over the course of last week. We see the price percent oscillators pretty much flat. Derivative oscillator negative, losing downward momentum. We go to the 2-day chart. What do we see there? Lots of down movement as far as the candle goes. Not a lot percentage-wise, 0.25%, but saw how things peaked up on Friday and then sort of losing that, dropping down, sitting there, pushing through the 2-day uptrend line. Price percent oscillator heading up just a little bit, pretty much flat. Derivative oscillator still gaining a little upward momentum. And what do we see on the half day? Crossing over, going down in the morning on Monday, a little further down in the afternoon, pushing through that weekly trend line. Lastly, we go to Bitcoin. How is Bitcoin looking? We can see the price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator heading up, going into the third week of strong up movement on Bitcoin. Let's look at the 2-day. Of course, it's cranking off after a slowdown in the up movement for that prior 2-day candle. First day of this latest one, moving up quite nicely. And of course, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, price percent oscillator gaining a momentum as it turns over, moving up at a higher, steeper angle. And on that half-day chart, up in the, well, we can see over the course where things have flipped over on that half-day trend line. And we can see where things smack up on Bitcoin, slide sideways and down a little bit, and then starting on, when was this? Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, this latest pop-up. So nice to see. That is where we are, folks, as we start the week off. Going to be an interesting week as we continue to move through these markets. Want to learn more about what we do? We have a great book for sale and autographed copies waiting for you. Follow the link in the show notes as my dogs bark in the background to signal the end of the show. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.